say you have chassis somewhere in the middle there. So draw your suspension. Like that. And to find out the roll center of the car, you essentially extend your suspensions until they intersect. So in this case, you're looking at that as the intersection point. And then you'd follow that to the center of the tire. So essentially, for this particular case, we did the same thing on the other side. Two red lines would intersect. You'd end up somewhere out here as your roll center. Your center of gravity for that end of the car would be somewhere higher usually. Let's say it's right there, CG. And what you end up with as you lean the car over into the corner is this center of gravity will roll along that roll center. So we'll have essentially that effect turn around that roll center. And once you start changing that, you'll determine how quickly the car rolls and how far it rolls. So let's say we move this top link up to that position. What that'll do is it'll lower your roll center, because now these lines will meet further out. And when you come back to meet this point to this tire, it'll end up somewhere lower. And so we just moved our link up and we lowered our roll center. And so now, when the center of gravity is getting forced to the side as we're turning, it's got a longer roll moment. So essentially more leverage along here. And so you end up with a more gradual roll, but a slightly further roll. And so that all is, of course, counteracted by, again, the springs and slowed down by the shocks. So some people spend a lot of time changing shock oil and springs to get, well, almost the same effect, because one balances out the other. But if you run a fairly high roll center on any other car, you're going to find that it reacts quicker and it sets faster. If you run a lower roll center, you're going to find that it's going to be smoother and it's going to set later on. And where this becomes pretty important is when you're balancing the front to the back. So say you have a high front roll center and a low rear roll center, like in comparison, you're going to find that the front end will set quicker, so it'll seem twitchier, and the back end will seem to want to roll more. So as you're coming into a corner, the back end will tend to almost rotate and be more active throughout the corner. The reverse would be true if you had a low front roll center and a high rear roll center. You'd find that the rear, as you slide the car into the corner, you'd find that the rear will set quicker and stabilize sooner, and will feel kind of more dead throughout the corner. It won't want to come around as much. And the front end will seem smoother and will come through the corner with probably a little more steering, as you'll continuously be adding more and more weight transfer on the front end. So for the side-to-side, talked about shocks and shock oil as counteracting this movement. So you can slow down. Like if you find that the car is fairly well balanced to the way you like it, but the back end seems to be stepping out because you've got a little too much roll in the back end, you could change the roll center, or you could slow it down with shock oil or stiffer springs. The other piece that the other tool that you have in terms of limiting the side-to-side roll or weight transfer is sway bars. I like using sway bars because, again, they isolate the side-to-side movement and they don't affect the front to back at all. So it's a good tool. So with all the different tuning aids you have at your disposal, there's a couple of good sources out there for books. The Lozy XXS Tuning Guide by Martin Crisp. He's out on the East Coast. Probably one of the best sources I've seen. It runs for like $10. Well worth the read. Goes through all the different setup changes and prioritizes them in terms of which ones to use when. Another good one is the X-Ray T2 setup book, if you have one. If you don't, it's downloadable and free. Have a good read through that. If you get your head around what most of that is talking about, then you're definitely in good shape. The only other one I've seen was the Associated TC3 Complete Tuning Setup Guide. Not as complete as some of the others, but still pretty good. So definitely consider picking up some of those. And when you read through it, you'll find that you'll have dozens of different setup changes you can make. So how do you sort them out? I'll go through a quick sample. When I get to the track, let's say I have one battery and 10 minutes to get my car sorted out. There is 4 or 5 different things that I will play with in that time. And that would get you at least within half a second of the full potential of the fast guys. Number 1, tires. That makes it easy for us touring car guys because we all run the same tires. But if you do run 12 scale, tires. You need to have probably 2 different sets of fronts of compounds, 2 different sets of rears for different track conditions. And if you run through a couple of different combinations there, you'll be most of the way there in terms of tuning a 12 scale car. The other big one, especially for touring cars, body. If you're looking at any of the more popular bodies these days, smoothest, Stratus by far, and the most aggressive,
or twitchiest.
yeah, the R9R. So in between here, you have the Mazda 6, Mazda Speed 6, and then the LBCR is the other one. And I have, when I come to a track, I always have these 3 daily. I think at our track here, because it is fairly bumpy, you need to be running one of these 2. At least have one of those 2 in your bag. Some guys are having success with the really twitchy bodies here. I haven't even tried the LTCR yet. I've tried the Speed 6, and that's been pretty good. But when you get to a smoother track, definitely want to consider picking up some of these. That makes, outside of tires, that's the second biggest difference I found on a touring car. Then the other 3 or 4 things that I would do if I only had the 10 minutes, try either differential or a spool up front. I've always been running the spool actually on my car this year. Some guys seem to like the diffs, but that makes a big handling difference as well. The other one you might not think, bottom shock positions. There's a lot of leverage on those shocks, and if you move them in just 1 or 2 mil at the bottom, if you're coming out to a new racetrack and the car's oversteering, take the fronts, move them out. If it's too pushy, go the other way. Same with the rears. It'll either make the car handle flatter if the bottoms are out, or it'll make it a little bit more aggressive. And just by changing those things,